I'll just jump into it. Speaking of jumping in, welcome to another episode of Jumping Into Clear the Throat. I am joined on this adventure by Bayne.
Hello, Kyle.
So you're joining me today to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of Portal 2, or as I like to call it, one of the greatest games ever made.
One of the
hands
goats.
down. I don't know if folk think I'm joking when I say that this is just an absolute goat of gaming. But would you agree? Or did you trade it in?
Well, I mean, obviously I traded it in, right? Come on.
I actually traded it in as well. We'll get onto that.
But yeah, I was just saying before we started there, like, I think I played this relatively close to it coming out. Obviously I played it on like the 360 back in the day, and it was one of those games that I like quietly I played and I really enjoyed, but I had no idea that it was like a thing.
Yeah.
You know, like I was like, oh, look at this cool little puzzle game that I found. You know, but like
that you found.
I know, like me acting like I'm finding
You discovered Portal.
Yeah, Portal 2 no less. But yeah, it was one of those games that it just kind of went by me, and then years later, you know, obviously like people were talking about it. I was always kind of aware that it was like after the fact. I was like, yeah, I know this is like got a bit of a following, but hearing about obviously all like the praise it's going about now for the 10-year anniversary, which was the other day, like I think it has me really wanting like this kind of puzzle platformer out again, because like I think something like this on like next gen. I mean, you know what I'm actually highly impressed by, even just watching this little bit here, is the fact that it's able to do like instant teleportation stuff. Like you're going all over the map.
It never gets old.
And it's never it doesn't like stutter. It's not like loading or anything like that. You can instantly see through, and you know you get points where if you do it right, you know you can see yourself moving, and then you can do like like starting momentum and all that. And it's like it's actually really impressive, like what it does. And it might, I think,
I'll try and get a bit of it coming up, see if I can. Although this might be a bit, because the area I've chosen to go through is a bit further into the game. If you remember, this is probably towards the second half. Because I want to pick this because I think when you think obviously the first Portal, it's the classic, you know, the test trials, which is what it's famous for. And then when I played the second one and I got to the point, I mean, I'll try and not spoil it, but you get to the point that you end up in this kind of old underground aperture, you know, and it goes through like the 60s and the 70s, and before that, I mean, God, 10 years ago, I was like, what am I doing? I can't concentrate. I was mind blown. I was like, wait, what? The game's not over? And I was like, the game's still going. And it was just, I think this part of the game is, okay, I'm going to have to do this differently. Put that there. I think this part of the game is so genius, the stuff it throws out, because it expands the lore of Portal and Half-Life as well. Oh my God, but still, fucking hell, I'm going to end up another one of those compilations. Right, there we go. But this entire part of the game just continues to like blow my mind. How, and going off what you were saying about this game looks really good. I know it's running on Source Engine, but this Source Engine just doesn't stop holding up after 10 years.
The lighting effects are looking pretty snazzy right now.
That's mental. Do you know? Well, did you play Portal 1? I should ask first.
No. No.
Never played Portal 1?
No. I don't even think I've ever seen anything on Portal 1. It's always just been like after I played it, it's just like, yeah, Portal 2 is like the one. I don't know why, like I have it in my head that this is like of the kind of the bygone era of platformers like Mirror's Edge, like the kind of games that they don't really make anymore. And I know there was a more recent Mirror's Edge, like before anybody starts pure spamming me in the comments, but like I just don't think that they really go for games. Like, do you think this has a place as like if there was a, not so much if it was Portal 3, because I feel like that comes with its own form of attention that maybe another type of platformer wouldn't get, but do you think there's anything comparable to this like today, even remotely, like slightly at all?
Maybe in like the indie game scene, because I remember when after especially Portal 2 we got quite a few more creative I can't remember the one that sticks out in my head, but it was kind of similar to Portal. And then recently we've had games that are like to do with like perspective, and there's always like puzzle games that have kind of tried to, you know, expand upon the ideas of Portal, because I think one of the beta ideas for Portal was like you had a camera and you had to like force perspective to look at things in a different light, and I know there's been games about that kind of inspired by it, but there is, I mean, I think as well the fact that a puzzle game like Portal 2 was such a big deal, like that I'm pretty sure this game sold pretty well, and I think you're right. I just, I can't imagine a huge game. I mean, that's Valve for you, because it's Valve, they just get away with anything because they're really good at it, but yeah, I don't know, I think that's why it was such a big deal to me, the fact that, so Portal 1, I played it in the orange box, if you remember that, greatest deal of all time, and it was just like, and I remember I'd heard about it, because still alive and all that, it became a bit of a meme, and I loved it. I was like, oh, this is one of the best games I've played. I just couldn't get enough of it. I liked speedrunning it and learning how to be better at it, and then this obviously came out kind of sort of out of left field, because I don't think many people expected a sequel to Portal, and that's what it's blown my mind, the fact it's 10 years, and I wish there was a bit more of a celebration about it, because it just seems like, oh, Portal 2 came out, and I know I'm calling it the GOAT, but everything about this game, like, that's why I'll keep the subtitles on, because I think J.K. Simmons is speaking right now.
I was literally just about to ask
J.K. Simmons is in your game.
That was J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, so I think that already gets you bonus points, having J.K. Simmons in your game, and he's amazing in it.
Yeah, it definitely does. I think even a more recent film that just came out on Amazon Prime has him in it, and I wasn't expecting him to be in it, and it instantly just kind of made it a wee bit better.
It is brilliant. Which, I mean, that's why it was quite. This game has a lot. Obviously, the first game was famous because of GLaDOS and how she was just kind of always bullying you the entire game, and that's part of the reason it was. I think the sense of humour of the first game is what got it so popular, along with the gameplay, and they just absolutely doubled down on that in this game. It's got Stephen Merchant, who plays Wheatley, who's amazing.
Yeah.
Got GLaDOS comes back, and now J.K. Simmons just kind of takes this part of the game. It just so many iconic. Well, that's why you really need to. I think, as much as I remember it, every time I go back to play this, I am just astounded how good the writing is, how creative it is, and again, going back to the. Hopefully, we can kind of come across something that does expand. Me, I'm all about my Half-Life and that, but there are just the way this game delivers story to you. That's why Half-Life 1 was such a big deal when it came out. But
so is this is the guys that done like Valve? This is Valve, yeah.
Yeah, so this is Portal. I always get this kind of wrong. So Portal, I think, was they found a studio that were making Portal, or I don't know, think it was called Portal at the time, and they basically were like, we want to take this game and fund it, and then we got the Portal we know today. But yeah, this is ya boys at Valve, the absolute goats of game who vanished off the face of the earth, which I guess we can fit in a wee VR corner, but people are assuming that Portal 3 could be a potential VR game, which is cool on paper, but I think I would even spew playing this in VR.
Something like this would, yeah. I had actually thought about it, because I think I saw like a little article today talking about like games that we would like to see ported to VR, like future games, and yeah, like jumping off of like a ledge like you did and then being flung across, especially with teleportation, because it's all about like what your body understands your movement to be, and something like this where it is define how you move is just kind of, I think it'd be too much for many people, and like,
I'd still play it.
I get that some people, you have to, understandably, you have to make games. Sometimes you can't go for like all crowds, and but I think the way that VR works sometimes, especially if you're going for a kind of larger game, to then go, oh well, half, you might want to play this game, but you don't have the like. The brain power, to muster it, because there's some games that I'm like that with, like Doom VFR I really wanted to play, but like it was like boot camp. Every time I went, it was like maybe I could play a little 5 minutes extra, and my brain was just going through like astronaut training. It was just it was crazy. But I think a game like this would be too much that. But I can also imagine it being very, very cool if you're like, especially say, I know it would never happen, but like if it was on like PSVR and you had like the aim controller.
Oh yeah, that'd be sick. That's the thing. I think, although I don't think it will happen, because it's Valve and they are just gods at game design, they would somehow work out a way to do it. Because that's one of the things with Half-Life Alyx is I've been listening to the kind of developer commentary, which you can listen to as you play the game, which they've had in other Valve games. You can like click them and then keep playing. One of their priorities was motion sickness. Is how do we make this game as accessible as possible? And I mean, again, I don't get motion sickness. I don't know how it would fare for someone who, you know, does get motion sickness, but they were always thinking, like, how do we limit that possibility? So knowing them, I feel like they somehow would be like, okay, we can make a Portal game and somehow make it still fun, but limit, you know, the crazy shit that I'm doing right now. But then maybe that would ruin the fun of it. I don't know. It's a hard balance. You can't appease, because you've got people like me who can just be like, yeah, bring it on, I'll take on anything. But it's like, okay, that's a very small, you know, niche of the market.
I mean, as long as though, see, like if they're given a lot of the, you know, comfort settings, if there's quite a lot of work put into comfort settings and accessibility settings for a title like that, that would be go towards its success, I think, because that's like part of the reason why I like scored Doom 3 VR edition so low, because I was just like, this game has, like, you know, the vignette and the turn speed, and like that's all you're getting really in terms of like comfort settings.
Yes, it should just be standard. Like, that is frustrating. I think that's a really fair. Again, I'm just gonna keep. Oh fuck! This is when I've actually got to stop and be like, right.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I know what I'm doing. I've played this game so many times, but another thing that, I mean, sadly, Ian doesn't own the game, so we couldn't subject ourselves to the torture of us getting confused. But this game has a very extensive co-op mode. Surprisingly extensive. Again, don't know if you've played it, but I played through it a couple of times with my friends, and it's very. Oh no, wait! It's a really extensive kind of campaign that has its own. It's just its own game in some ways.
I don't know if I ever have actually.
It's really. There we go. That's a future episode. It's really difficult though. Like, there's times I'm like, I'd love to play it with my girlfriend, but oh my god, even I remember there were times playing it with my pal. I was like, this is brutal, because it's again like, because it's really hard to describe it. They really managed to pull every trick they can to make you. I mean, think about it. From what you remember of Portal, there's so many times you have to have perfect timing on your portals. See, now try and do that with a friend with exact communication. Yeah,
I mean, you know the struggle that even some of us had with A Way Out. It Takes Two. I'm just going to say, I would have never have thought to do that, bouncing off the walls like that. I know you're saying that you played it quite a lot, but like
I played it a lot.
That would have taken me so long to realise.
I can't, yeah. I would, at the time, again, I remember actually in this kind of area, which is the underground area, which is very kind of reminiscent of the end of Portal 1, there were times I got stuck a lot. But
yeah, but it also, like, it does such a good job of, like, making you feel like a genius. Like, when you actually figure it out.
Well, that's actually one of the things that comes up in the last act of the game is basically I mean, it's 10 years old. Can I really like spoilers? I think I'm past the point that I can do that. But basically, Wheatley, who is Stephen Merchant, as you remember, shockingly, he inserts himself into the GLaDOS machine and becomes evil because of the chips inside GLaDOS that make them go bad. And and that's how we're in this facility. And GLaDOS is a potato who's currently being abducted by a bird, which is brilliant. But then at the last part of the game, you go back up to the new Aperture, and Wheatley which I guess is a bit meta, he has to keep testing you to satisfy the itch. The itch of, you know, it's like, oh, every time you do a test, you get that little feeling, it's like, I feel clever. And that's why GLaDOS is the way she is. It's like they have to do testing to make you satisfied, which I like that, because I think that might be a wee bit meta, because it is like playing this game, you get that satisfaction of like, oh, I did it, and it just gets more and more as you keep playing, in the end you're like, oh, I need more. And that's why there's like, I mean, there's loads of mods for these games of like test chambers and stuff, but of course they're far too difficult because
how long is this game?
Not very long. I think maybe in our first playthrough this could be a complete guess. I think you can get through this knowing what you're doing in 4 or 5 hours. So let's say if you didn't know what you were doing, that's probably like, what, 7 or 8 hours? Which I think, I mean, again, when I got this, I think I beat it in a day.
Yeah, I've just looked up there. You're talking about 8 hours.
What a guess. But again, the co-op thing, I think the co-op thing is probably about 8 hours as well. I got not to brag, I got the platinum trophy, which was brutal on co-op. Absolutely. I think there was one, it was like complete this entire test chamber without dying once. Which, in online, you die all the time, because a lot of the test chambers are built that way, but Okay, yeah, this is where I'm like, oh, here we go over here. I think this is when we're about to get introduced to one of the many elements. There you go. Oh yeah, we already had the paint, but as you can see, and as you'll remember, there's like I think maybe 2 or 3 paint types brought in. I'll actually skip a wee bit into the game so you can get something else. But you get the blue paint, which is obviously bouncy. And I think there's like the yellow paint, which makes you run fast. So let's jump. There's the itch. There you go. So I mean, look how many chapters it is. That's it. I mean, the chapters are relatively long, but you know, it's not a huge amount. Let's go to the reunion. Am I making you want to play this again yet? That's my goal. My goal.
Yeah, obviously, mate. For the literally, like, I'm so bad for getting a big fear of missing out with almost everything. You know, like if I hear people, I will be convinced to buy a game that I know for a fact I will not like. That's exactly what happened with Animal Crossing. I was like, Animal Crossing is not my kind of game. But everyone, you know, but everyone's talking about it, and it seems really fun. Yeah. So then, next thing, I had a Nintendo Switch with the Animal
Crossing. It's always the way. FOMO. I'm really happy about that. So here you go. Here's the orange paint, which should. Right.
So that's some fast boy paint.
I remember. I got to do this. And then.
Oh.
It's for this. Again.
Oh,
there you go. So there you go. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah. See, like that's cool. That's
it's so impressive.
It is, because like I remember so many times just standing at the things being like, oh, I can see myself. It's kind of like in video games, like see when you can see yourself in a mirror, it's like far more impressive.
Yeah. I can maybe do something. I love it. I love it. I'm gonna keep spoiling it because I think this one of the unsaid things about this game. Yeah, it's good.
You'll need to use the orange goo again, would you not?
You're a step ahead. How do I do that? I think I'm gonna need to keep that there. Right, remember that one's orange, and then boom. Yeah, so right now as you can see, GLaDOS is a potato.
Yes.
That happened. Very funny. Class moment. But when I'm, and this is my word of warning, if you've not played Portal 2 and I've like given you a wee bit of spoiler, like, you know what, I will check it out. This is your final chance to get out of here. But you're 3, 2, 1, boom. But basically you find out in this area that we're in now that Cave Johnson was the old head of Aperture Science, and Aperture Science were like the competitors of Black Mesa, who are the science facility from Half-Life, which was already cool in itself. You find that out in Portal 1. But then in this you find out that GLaDOS was Cave Johnson's wife.
Alright.
His dying wish was to put GLaDOS inside an AI so she would live forever. And it's just shit like that. It's such little touches. And then when you're going through, there's loads of that. You go through the facility later on in the game, and so the character you play as in this game is called Shell. And then later you're exploring the Aperture facilities, and there's like a bring your daughter to work day, and there's an experiment, and it says in the bottom right, by Shell. And they've never expanded on what that meant and how that makes sense, because it's like what's going on. And I'm always a fan of that type of storytelling, just very subtle visual clues that you can make your own interpretations from.
Yeah.
And Valve go silent for 15 years.
Yeah, I like stuff like that myself. Like I think so much of like storytelling stuff is like is like if a place can, you know, that way where you're just like, alright, I get what you're trying to say, I think, but please don't mention it outright. You know, that stuff like that, where it's like you could have been subtle about it, but like, oh, yes.
Oh, what?
Yeah, unlucky, mate.
I'm not so clever after all. But I'll finish this puzzle and then we can wrap up, because I am playing for all the Valve games right now. I started with the Black Mesa, the Half-Life 1 remake on Steam, which was made by fans, which is still insane. And then I'm going to play Portal 1 and blah 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 blah, and probably stop because I've got no attention span. But right, what am I doing wrong here?
Well,
what is going on?
You must. Well, you done the drop down, didn't you?
Right, let's take a look at this.
What if you done like the whole loop where like you put it at the bottom of that, see like that platform up there where you have to push the button? So like if you put one there and at the top, and then you start it going loop, 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 and then like fire it off to something if you're quick enough. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe.
So that square at the top, right there, if you put one up there, and you would fall down to that platform, but then you put one at the bottom as well, and then you'll start going faster and faster and faster.
But look, I can look.
Oh, is that not the
cat? One here, yeah.
See, that's why you're the pro.
I know we've got to crack this. If we're gonna end it here, we have to. I'm glad we've got stuck. So we need to get enough momentum to go. Phoom. I think it's something to do with being over there. Because if you think about it, if we come over here.
Oh! What? Never mind, son.
What? Nah, wait, hold on. I'm going back down. Right. So hold on. So if I do this, I'm going too fast. So this. What?
You just didn't
Okay,
do it
maybe
right,
this game's
mate.
not a masterpiece. I take it back. Wait, there's one more step and we're done. We need to, if I'm right, we need to get back over there, and then do this, and then shit. So it's the blue one. So if I use the orange one and put that in, and then go back through. But
Yep.
okay, I'm talking absolute shite. That's not what I need to do. Oh no! Fuck. This folk have just checked out this video. Like, yeah, fuck this, man. I thought I was coming here for a guy who says he's a huge fan of the game. It's something to do. I think what you were saying before is what we need to do now. You know what I mean? So do the wee jump. If I could hit that, and then no, wait. I think I've got it. If we
Maybe if you put it on the wall, if you're just like running again.
well, this is what I'm like this. Yeet. Oh,
Hey!
Genius. We did it. And I think that right there.
That's a good
the
point.
best part to leave Portal 2, which is sad because I want to keep playing it. But have you got any final thoughts on the 10? Oh, I was going to say, I traded it in to get Ellie Noir. That's what I was going to say. Because, you know, back at that age 10 years ago, we could only get like one game every 4 months. So
Yep. That back in the day
tragic.
where I got £10 pocket money a week, I think at that point. So I was like, right, I need to wait a month to be able to save up stuff. That's why I'm known as the trader boy in the jump
boy.
cut offices, you know. But yeah, I mean this is I think it's just, it doesn't matter about like graphically or anything, although I think it does kind of hold up in some departments. But like I think this just is a kind of an ingenious premise. It's always going to be fun, and they have the level design to go with it, where you're just, like we're saying, it makes you feel smart. It gradually increases the difficulty in a way that, like, with the mechanics, you're beginning to understand and mix things up, you know. And I think it's really cool. It's just like a game where you're like playing with physics, which is just a really,
that's always fun.
you know, yeah, that's just like a cool print. That's like part of the thing with video games that make them so fun. Because if you think like some other games, like not to the same extent of this obviously, but like Just Cause 3, that's kind of their selling point now, is like the physics of their world. And I think it's a really cool element to explore in video games. Oh, here we go. Let's go, son.
Wait, okay. Maybe that would make more sense. Yeah, I guess. Like,
Oh, you've done it
here
now.
first. They were going to make a Portal film. I think J.J. Abrams was attached, and
Alright.
it sounds like a cool idea on paper, but again, like you're saying, this is something that is one of the just hallmarks of why games are so different. Like, the story intertwines with the gameplay so well that it just seems so pointless. Yeah, the film will probably quite funny. It'd be quite like, oh, this is funny, haha, GLaDOS. But it's like, yeah, but the whole point is you're getting to listen to the story as you explore the facility. That's you know, that's the fun. I mean, especially that's the fun of Valve games and why they were such a big deal. And I no exaggeration, I think this is like just a perfect game. What a landing! If you've not played
10 out of
Portal 2,
10.
I'm sorry I've spoiled it, but this is a 10 out of 10 if there ever was one. Probably top 3 games for me, maybe top 2. I absolutely adore it. Hopefully we get a Portal. And you know what? Part of me is like, yeah, Portal 3 would be cool, but If you remember the ending of this game, it is so perfect. It is such a good ending, and it's always stayed with me. So part of me is like, you know what? I think leave Portal where it is. It's
Are we
so classic at this point.
remastered on the cards? Would you be interested in something like
Well,
that?
yeah, the Orange Box 2 needs to happen. It is a disgrace that all Valve games are still only available on the PC because, I mean, I know it's going to go, well, get a PC then. It's like, right, okay, stop. I mean, it's one of the things I like about Valve is that you can play most Valve games on Source on like any laptop or that because they're not that demanding. But we need an Orange, but we need like a Valve collection that's like £50 or £60. It's like you get everything Valve's ever made, and it's just a HD upscale with up-to-date controls. I know Valve don't need money because they're Valve, but I can't stress enough, I've said this for years, that would sell like crazy. If it was on like PS4, Xbox, just here's a HD collection of Portal 1, Portal 2, Half-Life 1, all the way to Episode 2 of Half-Life 2. You know what? Chuck in Team Fortress 2 as well.
I would like that
Why
as
not?
well because I have never played a Half-Life game.
Yeah, I think exactly. There's so many folk that are like, oh, I know Half-Life is meant to be one of the greatest series of all time. There's like, I'll just take folks' word for it.
Yeah,
because folk don't. I mean, I don't even like playing games on the PC. I'd rather play Portal 2 on my PlayStation or something. I think I've got it on the. I had it on the Xbox and I've got it on the PS3 as well, which is where I prefer playing it. And I would just rather play it on, you know. And I get, oh my god, imagine this with like the DualSense.
Yeah.
Like the feeling of the Portals. Oh, I'm getting too excited. But that's Portal 2, and it's been 10 years. I know I've spoiled it for you, but if you've not played Portal 2, get on Steam right now, or get on the PS3, get on the Xbox 360. Why not? It's probably backwards compatible, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
I'd imagine it would be.
Just play it. Just play it.
No excuses, mate. Bye.
Just
Happy
play
belated
it.
birthday.
Yeah. We're a couple of days off, but we're
It's the thought that
it's
counts.
fine, man. At least somebody's talking about it. Oh, if you want something a bit more depressing, go check us play. Well, me watch Aiden play Resident Evil 8 demo, which dropped the other day, which is more just me watching
Me be a big theatre.
Yeah, it's pretty much it. Me trying to distract you from the scary monsters in our half-an-hour slot, which we smashed.
Absolutely smashed.
8
7
minutes to spare.
Exactly.
Could have kept playing, just replay it, man. But thank you for joining me. Everyone go play Portal 2. Peace and love.
See ya.